That night, Leo jumped up from the girl's side, crying, "Every one of those people we met just now will die!" "So shall we," said the girl sleepily. "Lie down again, dear." Leo could not see that her face was wet with tears. But Leo was up and far across the fields, driven forward by the fear of death for himself and for the girl, who was dearer to him than himself. Presently he came across the bull, drowsing in the moonlight after a hard day's work, and looking through half-shut eyes at the beautiful straight furrows that he had made. "Oh," said the bull, "so you have been told these things too. Which of the houses holds your death?" Leo pointed upwards to the dark house of the crab and groaned. "And he will come for the girl too," he said. "Well," said the bull, "what will you do?" Leo sat down on the dike and said that he did not know. "You cannot pull a plough," said the bull with a little touch of contempt. "I can, and that prevents me from thinking of the scorpion." Leo was angry, and said nothing till the dawn broke and the cultivator came to yoke the bull to his work. "Sing," said the bull, as the stiff, muddy oxbow creaked and strained. "My shoulder is galled. Sing one of the songs that we sang when we thought we were all gods together." Leo stepped back into the canebrake, and lifted up his voice in a song of the Children of the Zodiac, the war-whoop of the young gods who are afraid of nothing. At first he dragged the song along unwillingly, and then the song dragged him, and his voice rolled across the fields, and the bull stepped to the tune, and the cultivator banged his flanks out of sheer light-heartedness, and the furrows rolled away behind the plough more and more swiftly. Then the girl came across the fields, looking for Leo, and found him singing in the cane. She joined her voice to his, and the cultivator's wife brought her spinning into the open, and listened with all her children round her. When it was time for the nooning, Leo and the girl had sung themselves both thirsty and hungry. But the cultivator and his wife gave them rye bread and milk, and many thanks, and the bull found occasion to say, "You have helped me do a half-field more than I should have done. But the hardest part of the day is to come, brother." Leo wished to lie down and brood over the words of the crab. The girl went away to talk to the cultivator's wife and baby, and the afternoon ploughing began. "Help us now," said the bull. "The tides of the day are running down. My legs are very stiff. Sing as if you never sang before." "To a mud-spattered villager?" said Leo. "He is under the same doom as ourselves. Are you a coward?" said the bull. Leo flushed, and began again with a sore throat and a bad temper. Little by little he dropped away from the songs of the children, and made up a song as he went along, and this was a thing he could never have done had he not met the crab face to face. He remembered facts concerning cultivators, and bullocks, and rice-fields, that he had not particularly noticed before the interview, and he strung them all together, growing more interested as he sang, and he told the cultivator much more about himself and his work than the cultivator knew. The bull grunted approval as he toiled down the furrows for the last time that day, and the song ended, leaving the cultivator with a very good opinion of himself in his aching bones. The girl came out of the hut where she had been keeping the children quiet, and talking woman talk to the wife, and they all ate the evening meal together. "Now yours must be a very pleasant life," said the cultivator, "sitting as you do on a dike all day, and singing just what comes into your head. Have you been at it long, you two gypsies?" "Ah!" lowed the bull from his byre. That's all the thanks you will ever get from men, brother."
"No, we have only just begun it," said the girl. "But we are going to keep to it as long as we live. Are we not, Leo?"
"Yes," said he, and they went away hand in hand.
"You can sing beautifully, Leo,"
said she, as a wife will to her husband. "What were you doing?" said he.
"I was talking to the mother and the babies," she said. "You would not understand the little things that make us women laugh."
And I am to go on with this gypsy work?" said Leo.
"Yes, dear, and I will help you."
There is no written record of the life of Leo and the girl. So we cannot tell how Leo took to his new employment, which he detested. We are only sure that the girl loved him when and wherever he sang, even when, after the song was done, she went round with the equivalent of a tambourine and collected the pence for the daily bread. There were times, too, when it was Leo's very hard task to console the girl for the indignity of horrible praise that people gave him and her, for the silly wagging peacock feathers that they stuck in his cap, and the buttons and pieces of cloth that they sewed on his coat. Womanlike, she could advise and help to the end, but the meanness of the means revolted. "What does it matter," Leo would say, "so long as the songs make them a little happier?" And they would go down the road and begin again on the old refrain, that whatever came or did not come, the children of men must not be afraid. It was heavy teaching at first, but in process of years Leo discovered that he could make men laugh and hold them listening to him even when the rain fell. Yet there were people who would sit down and cry softly, though the crowd was yelling with delight. And there were people who maintained that Leo made them do this, and the girl would talk to them in the pauses of the performance, and do her best to comfort them. People would die, too, while Leo was talking and singing and laughing. For the archer and the scorpion and the crab and the other houses were as busy as ever. Sometimes the crowd broke and were frightened, and Leo strove to keep them steady by telling them that this was cowardly. And sometimes they mocked at the houses that were killing them, and Leo explained that this was even more cowardly than running away. In their wanderings they came across the bull or the ram or the twins, but all were too busy to do more than nod to each other across the crowd, and go on with their work. As the years rolled on, even that recognition ceased, for the children of the Zodiac had forgotten that they had ever been gods working for the sake of men. The star Aldebaran was crusted with caked dirt on the bull's forehead, the ram's fleece was dusty and torn, and the twins were only babies fighting over the cat on the doorstep. It was then that Leo said, "Let us stop singing and making jokes." And it was then that the girl said, "No!" But she did not know why she said "no" so energetically. Leo maintained that it was perversity, till she herself, at the end of a dusty day, made the same suggestion to him, and he said, "Most certainly not!" And they quarrelled miserably between the hedgerows, forgetting the meaning of the stars above them. Other singers and other talkers sprang up in the course of the years, and Leo, forgetting that there could never be too many of these, hated them for dividing the applause of the children of men, which he thought should be all his own. The girl would grow angry too, and then the songs would be broken, and the jests fall flat for weeks to come, and the children of men would shout, "Go home, you two gypsies! Go home and learn something worth singing!"